You know, I'm usually a weapons guy when it comes to Destiny 2, and I spend a lot of time focusing on what comes on crafted guns and random rolls. Gonna break the mold a tiny bit here and talk about how Arc is shaping up to be insanity next season. There are a lot of changes coming, including Busted Fist of Havoc, Stormtrance, Chaos Reach, multiple Arc exotics like Point Contact and Eternal Warrior, list goes on. Today, I'm gonna go over some of my favorite Arc builds and a bit of speculation on potential build options going into Season 21, Season of the Deep. Also, if you like videos like these, subscribe to let me know you want more of them. Now, since I'm a Warlock main, I happen to know a lot about the strange functionality of a lot of the kit on this class. Let's start by looking at what Arc Warlocks are good at. They specialize in Jolt and Ionic Traces. Jolt is an effect that, once applied, deals damage to the jolted target as well as nearby targets upon taking damage. This debuff stays applied for roughly 5 seconds. Jolt can be applied through grenades with the fragment Spark of Shock equipped, melees that have it built in like Chain Lightning or the Lightning Surge aspect Slide Melee, or perk effects like Volt Shot and Tempest Cascade from Delicate Tune. Ionic Traces are usually generated through ability or archetype kills, using things such as the Electrostatic Mind aspect or the fragments Spark of Discharge and Spark of Ions. Upon generation, they track to you along the ground or walls, and give 12.5% back to grenade and melee energy, and 15% to your class ability. Moving on to Arc Titan, this was probably the strongest class when Arc 3.0 came out, and it's been nerfed a decent chunk, but it's still quite good. Arc Titan specializes in blind and hard-hitting abilities. Arc Blind causes targets to be unable to see or fire their weapons in PvE, and obscures vision in PvP. Blinding enemies is straightforward with Seismic Strike, Flashbang Grenade, and Spark of Beacons or Spark of Brilliance. The aspects on Titan are some of the strongest, with Touch of Thunder basically doubling or adding new effects to grenades such as Ionic Traces being generated by Pulse Grenades or Storm Grenades getting tracking. Knockout is also quite strong, allowing you to start regenerating health with a more powerful melee after weakening a target, with a melee kill granting Amplify. Lastly, we've got Hunters. Arc Hunters specialize in Jolt and Blind while maintaining powerful combinations. Their aspects are built into rewarding consecutive action, with Lethal Current giving Jolt to melee attacks after dodging, and blinding enemies that are jolted by meleeing them. Combination Blow is one of the core aspects to Arc Hunter, stacking in damage and replenishing your dodge charge, synergizing most effectively with Gambler's Dodge to refresh your melee. Tempest Strike is an alternative that allows you to slide in melee for a jolting wave to catch your targets and do immense damage. Just as a quick aside, being amplified happens when you get 4 arc kills rapidly, with more progress being granted for beefier enemies. It can also come from other conditions like Knockout Melee, Ionic Traces, or the Spark of Volt's fragment when finishing an enemy. When sprinting for long enough, Amplify can give Speed Booster, which increases sprint speed and jump height, extends slides, and gives 15% damage resist for as long as you keep sprinting. Now that explanations are out of the way, let's look at combinations I found to be both fun and effective. Starting with my Ionic Trace build on Warlock, the main pieces of the build are Delicate Tune, the exotic Arc Rapid Fusion, and Fallen Sunstar, the Ionic Trace boosting helmet. Delicate Tune gives a chance to generate Ionic Traces on kill, with Majors guaranteeing one. Upon receiving an Ionic Trace, its next shot will jolt targets and do more damage, and with the Catalyst it reloads part of the mag. Fallen Sunstar doubles the benefit of receiving an Ionic Trace, giving a quarter of your abilities back, and also giving nearby allies 10% on picking one up. This allows for an immense amount of ability span, seeing as with Spark of Shock and Discharge, as well as Electrostatic Mind aspect, it's a feedback loop of jolting abilities and generating Ionic Traces which contribute to your overall power. In endgame as well, Blind and Jolt stun unstops and overloads respectively, meaning that a single Flashbang Grenade can stun 2 champion types, only leaving Barrier, which can easily be accounted for by using a primary weapon. Moving on to Titan, most often the class leads itself to build into melee, seeing as Seismic Strike, Thunderclap, and Ballistic Slam all do great damage in close quarters combat. Doing so is often easiest with exotics like Skullfort or Heart of Inmost Light, which also helps with regaining your extremely strong grenades. Since Knockout heals you on melee kills and Spark of Resistance makes close combat less dangerous than usual, the amount of aggression you're allowed to use is quite good. Next season as well, Point Contact Cannon Brace is getting buffs to its lightning strikes, adding to its already notable melee regeneration with Jolt and more damage. Arc Hunter's build is somewhat similar, with Combination Blow usually being the main focus, although it's typically used in 2 different ways. One is more aggressive, using Lyra's Handshake to enhance Combination Blow's damage and healing on cross counter. The other is more defensive, using Assassin's Cowl to turn yourself invisible on getting a kill with Combination Blow, allowing for a stealthy, precise playstyle. There are other Arc Hunter exotics like Blight Ranger or Raiju's Harness, but they're way too specific to be useful. As you can tell, these builds all come with a handy amount of aggression built in, so if there's many pros, what are the cons? Well, for starters, oftentimes you're not going to have easy ways to heal, and since these playstyles lend themselves to being up close, you'll be taking a lot more damage, although there are Spark of Resistance and Speed Booster to give you damage resist. Other than that, there's also no built-in way to increase weapon damage, meaning that your abilities will become more pivotal in dealing with enemies, and this reliance can make a failure of a combo or abilities on cooldown feel more punishing. So, if we're reliant on abilities, what weapons should we combo with Arc subclasses to help our abilities excel? Well, for starters, any weapons that generate Arc subclass verbs. For Jolt, there's plenty of options, including weapons with Volt Shot and exotics like Delicate Tune or Darcy. To help with Ionic Traces, Delicate Tune also does that, and Cold Heart does as well. Any weapons with Demolitionist or Pugilist are also good, especially those that have it in the 3rd slot, and Shotguns, Fusions, Snipers, and Glaives all give double energy from those perks. Focus on ability uptime and you're golden. So yeah, that's about all I've got. Maybe this is enough incentive for you to try Arc where you otherwise wouldn't. Anyway, appreciate you. Have a good one.